even thought would do it though, like, because the rest we just agree on. But I mean, we agree on the infinitism and God shit as well. But the two topics that I thought were, I either try to prove God or you defend infinitism. So, which one you want to do, bro?
I guess in DMs, I'm not like super confident about the infinitism stuff.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to defend God, I can do that.
Wait. If I don't want to defend God, to be clear, you can defend infinitism.
Yeah, if you're like really against like the God position or whatever, you feel like you don't have much knowledge or confidence about it, that's fine.
So, well, it depends. So if I don't know, give an argument for like some necessary creator, would you go against that, or would you accept it and say that's not like classical theistic God?
I don't think necessary thing is a classical theistic God, but when you say necessary creator, do you mean like a necessary conscious thing that created the universe?
I don't know if there are any arguments that I have for like a conscious creator. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, well, what do you mean when you say creator?
Yeah, creator, just I don't know, just some cause for the universe. That's the only thing I can think of an argument for. I'm pretty sure.
Well, you keep saying, you said necessary creator, right? And when you say God, I'm assuming you're defining that as a necessary creator, right? So it would be like a necessary creator, which just doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, yeah, to be clear, what I said was by creator, I mean just some cause behind the universe or something.
Oh, cause, okay.
Yeah, cause. So, yeah, that would be the only thing that I could think of an argument about. I'm not gonna lie.
Sure. So, yeah, we can do that if you want.
Okay, we could do that. Okay, let me see.
Wait, just to be clear, when you say necessary, you mean like exists in all possible worlds, right?
Exists in all possible worlds. Let's say that, like, let me see. Let me think of an argument. Explanation. Well, I mean, I would say that by necessary, I don't actually, just strip the necessary thing. I would just say that it might be like the expected explanation for the facts that the facts that are available to us, like in this universe.
Wait, so just to be clear, you're claiming that there was a cause for the universe to exist. Is that it?
Yeah. That's.
I don't think I disagree with that at all. I don't know if anybody disagrees with that.
Yeah, nah, that's okay. I mean, yeah. Do you want to do like the infinitism thing?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, bet. So yeah, we could get started. Chrome, you're recording, right?
Yeah, I am. Also, what's good, Mason?
Hey, what's up?
So I just want to get clear on a few semantics, I guess. So, I mean, I'm guessing you're gonna be like just deducing it from like PAA and PAC.
One more time.
Well, to be clear, the topic of the debate is, your motivations for PAC, or the motivations for PAC, right?
Sure. Well, okay, not PAC in particular, but yeah, infinitism.
Yeah, so then what I was asking was, is the argument just going to be some sort of like inference from PAA and PAC?
Yeah. Accept that?
Yeah, I mean, depends on the context. So I'll just get clear on the semantics. So, what do you take PAA to be? Because PAC should be trivial, but what do you take PAA to be?
Gotcha. I don't exactly. I'm gonna be completely honest. This is why I didn't want to defend this, but I'm cool with it. I don't exactly remember what PAA and PAC refer to in particular. I just remember there are two sort of like theses. One is that propositions can be like or justification. Propositions can be like probability raising, and then the other one. Oh my god.
Well, I mean, usually PAA is just, there's no non-inferentially justified proposition, and maybe they also deny the existence of hinges. But PAC is just there's no like proposition that justifies itself or something.
Yeah, like avoiding circularity or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so you'd commit to the ones that I just laid out.
Sure.
Okay, but so I mean, I don't think. Well, I feel like a coherentist would be fine with accepting the PAC, because they could just say that, let's say, like a belief is justified if it like coheres with a web of beliefs or whatever, and the web of beliefs could just cohere with like a set of like hinges you have, and those hinges could just be let's either non-beliefs or like non-inferentially justified beliefs. So I don't really care about the PAC. But what are gonna be the motivations for like the PAA?
Wait, just to be clear, why would you think coherentism would? I don't know what you mean when you say the word hinges.
Oh, hinges just like, let's say, like some axioms about justification, like what makes justification, what would like a justified belief look like, rules regarding that, right? Because you can't really, I mean, and but I would an infinitist would agree that you can't really use any inference or any probability raising inference to justify an axiom regarding what a probability raising inference is that would literally be circular and what an infinitist denies. So that would just be like a hinge.
Gotcha. Yeah, there are like certain axioms of probability or whatever. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So what would be the
and then we would say, hold on, we would say that that there are certain axioms under coherentism that aren't going to be justified.
Not necessarily like they're not justified, but they just, I mean, there's no reason for them to have like some external reason that justifies them, so they could just be non-inferentially justified, right? So then I would just ask, what's the motivation for the PAA?
Gotcha. I mean, just on my semantics of justification, I don't take it that something can be non-inferentially justified.
And what are your semantics? What are your semantics of justification again?
Yeah, it's if something is justified, it's that there is like an infinite set of propositions which
doesn't
brings
that
the
just
probability of that
question?
proposition.
Well, doesn't that just like question beg for the infinitist? Because that's literally just saying,
but
I believe
the idea is just okay. Like if I'm defending infinitism, generally you're going to have to point out some internal critique, right? There should be, presuming that infinitism is false or whatever, there should be some internal critique given the sort of
I mean, I do.
I'm using, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are some internal critiques that I was planning on proposing, but that's why I got clear on the art because this was I guess the like confusion because when I said the topic is the motivations for infinitism, what I usually what I thought, or actually what I meant was you're gonna be trying to prove infinitism to me or whatever, but I guess that's not what was convincing.
Well, yeah, if the main motivations I have is just I see other problems with using, or I see problems with using justification in ways which are don't cohere with infinitism, right? So like I see problems with coherentism and foundationalism, and because I don't have any other views available, I just subscribe to infinitism.
So okay, I mean, then what would be a problem that you see in the view of coherentism that I gave you that doesn't question back for the infinitist?
Gotcha. I'm just going to need you to expand on the view a little bit because I'm not sure.
Sure.
I'm not sure what the actual view was where it.
Clarity. So it's just like, let's say a belief, or I mean, even a foundationalist belief, it doesn't really matter. So let's say like a belief is justified if it coheres with a web of beliefs or whatever. And the justification for the web of belief itself, right? That would be like the hinges that you have.
Gotcha. If the justification for a set of beliefs isn't going to be that it coheres with another set of beliefs, but that it follows from some belief which is non-inferential, that just sounds like foundationalism.
Yeah, I mean, what's the name? It'll be a little different because foundationalism to me, that's why, firstly, I said, that it could be foundational as well. It doesn't really matter. But foundationalism to me follows like a linear set of justification. X is justified by Y is justified by C, and like a linear chain like that. But coherentism goes like a web, but that doesn't even matter.
So just to be clear, then what you're saying, and I just because I'm a little confused on the sort of view you're proposing, what you're saying is that there are two conditions for which a belief is, or there are two conditions for a belief to be justified. One of them is that it has to cohere with another set of beliefs.
With the web of beliefs or whatever, and the justification.
And two is that when you say cohere, just to be clear, what does that mean? Because it sounds like you're using cohere in a different way than I am.
Yeah, cohere. By cohere, I mean like, let's say some inductive relation, right? So I guess maybe you could say it's expected, or like it's expected under that like web of beliefs, or the web of beliefs is expected under. Sorry, no, it's expected under that web of beliefs or something. And the justification for the web of beliefs wouldn't be some coherence relation. It would just be something that follows from the hinges. Or like maybe scores better in the hinges.
Gotcha. So for an individual proposition, it has to be it has to cohere or be expected within a web of beliefs, and it has to also, that web of beliefs in its entirety also has to follow from some sort of hinge.
Sure, you could say that.
Gotcha. So I'm a little confused then. Why can't a belief be justified if it just follows from the hinge?
I mean, the belief would be I mean, yeah, that's fine. What I'm basically saying is
Well, wait, to be clear, if that's fine, if a belief can be justified just from following from the hinge and it doesn't have to cohere with this other,
okay.
web of beliefs or whatever.
No,
well, I mean, it doesn't meet the two conditions that you
yeah,
laid out.
no. Okay, yeah, I was like not clear on what you were saying then. I mean,
Yeah, I got
yeah, so I would really okay. I mean, well, okay, so it would either be like some non-inferentially justified belief. Actually, no. Okay, so I would just say that like the system that I'm proposing, the only thing that can follow from a hinge would be the system or whatever, because this like the web of beliefs, right? Because the web of beliefs is designed to like I don't know follow from a hinge or whatever, right? Like let's say some parsimony, it seems more parsimonious than some other web of beliefs or something like that, right? So I don't like given the literal system that I'm proposing, it wouldn't make sense for like an individual belief to follow from the hinges. But even if it does, it doesn't really matter because the main thing is going to be that, the foundation is going to be some non-inferentially justified belief. So what is going to be like an issue that you have against that, which is not question begging for the infinitist?
Sure. I don't actually even know what it means for something to be non-inferentially justified.
Oh,
what
okay.
semantics of justification are you even using? Like, it could be the case that my issue with this is literally just like the thing you're talking about. It has nothing to do with the word justification and the way that people use it.
Okay, so I'll just clarify the semantics, and you could repeat this thing you said, like in the end, right? So basically, by just non-inferentially justified, what I mean is, I guess we grant the truth, or like we grant certainty, in regards to like epistemic attitudes about like a certain proposition without it having any prior reason, right? So we could maybe grant that like let's say if I take the laws of logic, like if I'm not saying they're foundational, but if I take them to be foundational, right, I would just grant that they're like certainly true or something without them having any prior reasons or something like that, right? So they could be, let's say, like
you could just say you're granting that they're true without justification. That's fine, but you're saying that they're justified. What I was asking for was the semantics for justification here.
Semantics for wait,
I don't know what you mean when you say something is justified, because when you said something was justified earlier, I asked you for the semantics, and you said, or I summarized and said, okay, so for something to be justified, all it means for something to be justified is that it meets two conditions, which is that it coheres with a web of beliefs, and that web of beliefs follows from some hinge or axiom or whatever, which is not inferentially justified. I don't know what it means for that thing to be justified.
Right, okay, yeah, I gave that answer because I thought you were asking about non-inferentially. My fault, but yeah, I guess justified would just be, let's say, some raised probability or some like epistemically satisfying probability that like some belief has. So if a belief is justified, justification would be like, I don't know, let's say some probability raising inference. You can maybe say that or something like that, right?
Wait. To be clear, I think you might be a little confused. What you just said was that it's a probability raising inference.
Yeah.
Justification is now what I'm confused about is you just said that hinges or axioms are non-inferentially justified. So what that reads to me as is if I term substitute, they're non-inferentially probability raising inferentially justified.
Oh yeah.
Which just doesn't make any sense.
Clarify. No, that's fine. I get that. But yeah, basically, I'm drawing a distinction between a belief being justified and a belief having, let's say, justification or whatever, right? So if I say I'm justified in believing some proposition or something, that's why I define justified in a really specific way, right? So if I'm justified in believing a proposition or something, then that would mean that I have like an epistemically satisfying amount of probability or like credence towards that belief. So I could have I could have a credence of 1 towards the laws of logic without having any reasons for the laws of logic, right? So I'm basically saying a belief doesn't need justification to be justified or whatever, right? So it doesn't really need any like external set of reasons. That would be the
gotcha. So for a belief to be justified, you can have non-inferential justification by having a high credence towards that belief. Is that it?
That would be what a belief would look like, but I mean there would also be other, well, I mean, okay, it would also be, I guess, it like gives the foundation for other justification, because the hinge example.
Look, I'm just gonna point out the problem that I have with this. Okay, well,
Okay, go ahead.
Unless you were literally just saying a belief, not a justified belief, but a belief is one where you have some epistemically satisfying probability credence, or some epistemically satisfying credence towards it, or whatever. That's fine. If you're saying that's what justification is, I mean, it would just be really weird to say, that somebody is justified in believing that the laws of logic don't exist, right? And you agree that that person would be justified as long as they have a high credence towards it. So like justification is like purely subjective, and the sort of justification that you can have is literally just credence based. Like nobody uses justification this way, unless you want to say that every contradictory belief is justified, like, or equally justified even. Like I could say P and not P, and both P and not P are equally justified, but I don't.
Okay, so before I even respond, let me just get clear on what you're saying. So you're just saying that, like, if I paint justification out to be not something that requires reasons, some justified belief to be not something that has reasons, but just something that has like some probability towards it, which is dependent on
probability towards it. Like, yeah, like somebody has credence.
Yeah, credence towards it or whatever, right? So, and that's dependent on the agent. Then I will be committed to the view that all propositions, even contradictory ones, are like justified to the same degree or something. That's what you're saying. Okay, so I mean, I think there's a difference between you saying that you're justified in P and not P, then saying that someone is justified in P equally as much as some other person is justified in not P or whatever, right? But I mean, I am like some like subjectivist about credences. So yeah, I mean, I would say that like justification.
Well, hold on. Like credences are obviously subjective, right? But the sort of thing we want to say when we're talking about justification, if we say belief is justified, generally we don't want to be saying that all that means is that somebody has credence towards it. Especially if you're trying to build this sort of system for what justification is.
Okay, no, that
and it could be the case that that's like a propositional thing as well, that provides propositional justification as well, right? Like if I want to say, okay, belief is justified because X agent has credence towards it, right? Well, I mean, that would just be another propositional belief that gives justification, right? So we wouldn't actually, not only does it make it subjective, which is a sort of problem, because it's just not typically what people mean by justification. It also seems to be the case that it's a propositional justification, which you want to avoid when you're trying to give non-inferential justification.
Yeah. No, I mean, with the propositional justification thing, we could go with that in a second because I have an issue. You said, okay, we don't want to typically be saying that justification is like, okay, a justified belief is just a belief that has credence towards it or whatever. I mean, what would be the additional property you think people like include?
Additional property they include for what?
Like for a justified belief that is not credence. Like you're saying that a justified belief is not something that just has credence or whatever, right? So
a justified belief to me, and I've already explained this, you said this was question begging, but I can give like a sort of less question begging answer. Justification could just be something like there are a set of propositions which raise the probability that belief past like 0.5 or whatever.
Okay,
that could be what a justified belief looks like.
Okay. Okay, so I mean, I will. Okay, so there's some part that I disagree with and some part that I agree with, right? So that could be what yeah, there are instances of when that looks like when that is what a justified belief looks like. But I feel like what's actually happening there is, okay, when they say they're justified in this belief, they're just referencing the credence they have towards the belief. But when they when that also includes
you gotta understand, when we're talking about like Bayesian forms of probability, when we talk about credence isn't just like how you feel, lol. Like credence is an estimation of probability. Probability is an actual thing which is non-subjective, right? So it's not the credence that's giving the justification, it's the probability raising inference that's giving the justification.
Okay, bet. So I'll just finish what I was saying and then I'll respond to this because I also disagree with some other thing that you said. So, well, I mean, yeah, what I was gonna say was, okay, when people say like they're justified in believing X, and that what that means is, oh, they have a set of reasons that raises the credence towards their belief to like some value below 1 or whatever, right? When they say they're justified, I think all that refers to is the probability value that is the result of the reasons. but the reasons are not going to be what they include when they're saying they're justified. They're just going to be the cause of them being justified, right? So when they say they're justified, that's not what that means. And when you said Bayesian credence is going to be something that is like objective, well, no, there are Bayesian subjective.
Not what I said.
Oh, sorry. Like probability under some Bayesian account is going to be, or credence under Bayesian account is going to be something that's not subjective, right? You said that?
No, I didn't say that. No, what I said was credence is generally going to be in reference to a thing which is non-subjective. Credence itself is subjective. You're making a subjective judgment about probability. The probability, the thing that you're making a subjective judgment about probability is the non-subjective thing. The other thing that you said was just, I mean, I already responded to this, I think.
Okay.
I think the other thing, I mean, just remind me because I zoned out for a minute. I think the other thing that you said was that, oh my God, hold on. Jesus, brain fog.
I could just repeat it, bro.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's fine. So what I was saying was, when they say, like, they have X credence towards it because of Y set of reasons, the Y set of reasons are just going to be the cause for them being justified in the belief. So when they actually, like, even in the...
but the Y set of reasons is the thing that's raising the probability. We're not saying, okay, somebody is justified because they have a certain credence towards this belief or whatever. What we're saying is that somebody's justified if there's a set of reasons which raises the probability of that belief past 0.5. The credence itself is not the inference that's occurring there. It's the probability. It's the probability inference that's occurring, like the raising probability. That's like the inferential factor there.
I mean,
that's it. Like saying they're the cause of the credence is true, but they are literally the thing that raises the probability.
Okay, so I guess I have issues both with the thing that you just said and like the whole reference thing. I mean, with reference, I will need clarification, so we could just like put that on pause. So with this thing specifically, before I even respond, let me just get clear. You're just saying that even when we say someone is justified, what we mean is completely that they have reasons that make the probability go past 0.5.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just think that we have different semantics then or something, because I don't think that's what they mean. Because when I think of someone being justified in a belief, what I think of is the end result, which is, them having 0.5 probability. So if what the reasons they have are...
Wait, to be clear, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. It may be real. Like, it makes zero sense to say, okay, that person is justified in that belief. And somebody goes, oh, what do you mean they're justified? Oh, that belief has a probability of above 0.5.
Oh, that okay.
No,
wait,
nobody means that. Obviously, nobody means that. And I mean, you could say the other thing, which is that they have a credence of above 0.5, but that doesn't mean that they're justified in belief. Like, that's just not what people mean when they say they're justified.
Yeah, okay, Mason, but there's like a contextual thing, right? Because a lot of the times when people say they're justified, what's entailed is that there's like some cause for the justification. That's not to say that when they say they're justified, they mean this thing, but that's just to say that when they say when people generally when people generally talk about justification, they entail this like causal factor or whatever, right? And that's just to say that when usually people talk about claims, they're not talking about foundational claims. So you like, obviously even a foundationalist would agree that justification is talked about in the way that you're saying that it's talked about. They would just disagree that when people say justification, what they mean is the what's the name, a belief that has a set of reasons that make the probability go past.
Yeah, when people generally talk about justification, almost everybody agrees that justification means that somebody has reasons for that belief or something. I'm just giving an account of what reasons look like, and the reasons are there's some inferential probability raising factor there. When you say my account of reasons here, or having reasons to believe something, or being justified, or all these things mean the same thing to me. Is that you have a set of propositions which raises the probability of a belief past 0.5. That's it. I'm just giving an account of that. That's all.
Okay, so what you're giving okay, wait, hold on.
Okay, before you respond, do you agree that when people talk about justification, or do we agree that when both of us are talking about justification, what we mean is that somebody has reasons to believe something?
Justification. Yes,
or
yes.
The belief is justified. Yeah, like.
Oh. Okay, I would agree generally, but like not as in like some analytic thing. Because obviously I'm arguing that a justified belief is not just something that has reasons. What I'm arguing is a justified belief that is like a epistemically satisfying our attitude, right? So obviously I would disagree with that, and that's why we're talking about it right now. So
gotcha. So you would say something like, when you say epistemically satisfying attitude, or maybe I misheard you. Is that that's what you said? Okay. Does all that mean is a justified belief is one that has like high credence? That somebody has high credence?
Yeah.
Okay. Because sorry, I was a little confused because I thought you were proposing this sort of coherentist system to explain justification, but I guess all of that was just like nonsense, which is fine. But look, I mean, I can just give you this sort of demonstration or this sort of thought experiment or whatever scenario, and you could tell me if you think this makes sense to you. Do you think it makes sense to say like a schizophrenic person is justified in believing that there are people outside their house watching them with cameras, and that every time they walk out and see their neighbor walking their dog, that person is a gang stalker? You think that person is justified in that belief because they have an extremely high credence towards that being the case?
Okay, so
I'll
answer that in a I'll answer that in a second. So basically,
well, real quick, just before you get to an explanation, I just want to answer that because I'm not super clear on even what you mean.
I mean,
right now.
What's the name? I mean, the answer is going to be yes, but I have to explain for it to not be like a reductio or whatever, right? That's why, like, I want to clarify the thing, right? The answer is yes, obviously. Okay, so yeah. Now, what I take justification to be is, as I said, like I'm a subjectivist about like credences or whatever the fuck, right? So whenever I say this person, whenever we say someone has high credences, we would also say that like the probability of this thing happening would be high to them. So with the available data to that person, if the person like does actually have the credences, if the person actually does have high priors towards whatever schizo belief that he has, then I would say that he has high credence. It's just the case that we would not have high credence because we already know about the fact that the guy is schizophrenic, and we know about and we share these like other available facts that contradict.
Sure. You would say he would be justified in believing that people are gang stalking and watching him. We would be justified in believing that people are not. Great.
Yes.
So, yeah, just to be clear, I guess I'm just a little confused about something then. I understand your semantics for justification, kind of. When I asked you earlier the question, do you agree that at the very least that when we say belief is justified, that belief has reasons? You said yes. And then I guess now you're saying that it's not that it has reasons.
I said generally, because okay.
Oh, sorry. You said generally, yes. You said you didn't take it to be an analytic thing, yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. So I just don't know. So one, I don't know. There are two things here. One, this is just not really what anybody means when they talk about justification, but that's fine. You can have like a proprietary account or whatever. The second thing that I have an actual problem with, aside from just the sort of thing you're saying being like extremely idiosyncratic, is that I don't understand what the sort of coherentist hinge thing you were proposing is, because you said, okay, I believe a belief is, you think a belief is justified if it falls under like two conditions, right? Which is that it's expected under a web of beliefs, and that web of beliefs that it's expected under has some sort of hinge or axiom, which is non-inferentially justified, right? And then we went over the difference between, I guess, inferential and non-inferential justification. And you said non-inferential justification is, this idea that somebody could just have high credence towards the thing, right? I firstly didn't understand why that was non-inferential, because we could just take the proposition I have high credence towards this to be an inferential justification, right? So because I have high credence for this, I am justified in believing this or whatever. But then you said, okay, high credence is actually the analytic semantics for justification. So I was like, okay. So it seemed like you changed your idea of what justification was from being under these two conditions, which is being in a web of beliefs and that web of beliefs cohering to, or falling from some hinge, to having high credence. And I guess I'm just confused now. If anybody who just has high credence towards anything without any reasons is justified, what was the point of bringing up the whole coherentist thing if it just has nothing to do with the conversation?
So I mean, okay, but so yeah, I guess there are three things. So the idiosyncratic thing, I mean, I feel like that's going to be a whole segment, so we could talk about that like later as well. So, and with the other thing, I mean, with switching the thing, I mean, I think I specified what I meant by like a belief that is, just gonna cohere or have some coherence relation with a web of beliefs, and a belief or like a hinge that is gonna be non-inferentially justified. So I think I like, even in the beginning made the clarification of, oh, this, okay, when we say this is justified, this is what it means. And when we say the other thing is justified, actually no, even sorry, like the belief that is going to be justified through cohering with a web of beliefs, that can also be justified in the same way as a non-inferentially, like the semantics of justified there, they could be the same thing. It would just be the case that like a necessary cause for the justify, like a necessary cause for the justified nature is going to be coherence with a set of axioms or like a web of beliefs or whatever, right? So the definitions could remain the same and the coherentist view would uphold. And the point of me bringing up the coherentist view was basically just to like give some view that is compatible with PAC but not with PAA.
Gotcha. Sure. So yeah, I guess the problem I have with that is that it's not like you gave the same account of justification and just said one is inferential and one is non-inferential. You just gave like two entirely different accounts of justification. Like that was the sort of problem I have. Like,
all right, bet. I'll just clarify.
Like these were two entirely different accounts of justification.
Okay, so I feel like, okay, the account that was different was what are going to be the necessary causes for something to be justified, right? For like, okay, so the necessary causes for like a non-inferentially justified belief to be justified are just going to be non-existent, right? But the necessary causes for like a belief that is inferentially justified, they're going to be coherence with a set of axioms, right? But they could be justified in the same way as in that, someone has high credence. It could just be the case that for like an inferentially justified belief, someone has high credence because of the coherence relation, and for the non-inferentially justified belief, they just have a high credence because it's like a hinge that they like intuitively favor towards or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. The real problem here I have is just with the idea that we can have like non-inferentially justified beliefs, and then I guess, sorry, to be clear, you were saying that this belief does cohere with the PAA but doesn't cohere, does cohere with the PAC but doesn't cohere with the PAA, yeah?
Yeah. But I mean, the whole thing boils down to, because you also said it yourself, you don't think that there should be any like non-inferentially justified beliefs. I think they should. So it's all really about the PAA. So what is the motivation against there being like any non-inferentially justified beliefs?
It's just the sort of thing that most people mean by justification. Like if we talk about justification as reasons talk, right? We say something like, okay, for someone to be justified, they have to have reasons for believing that thing. Well, then it would just kind of follow, right? Like you can't have non-inferential reasons for believing a thing. And unless I'm sure you would agree with that, but if you didn't agree with that, we could go over that. But I guess the sort of thing you're just saying is that, well, justification doesn't involve reasons talk. Like when we talk about epistemic norms, they just don't involve like normativity or reasons talk like at all.
Yeah,
and it's like, if you want to say that, that's fine. I'm just telling you that's like an incredibly like idiosyncratic way of.
No, there's a disconnect there, because I wasn't saying that they don't involve that at all. I was granting that they could be generally like talking about reasons whenever talking about whenever having this justification talk. But I could still say that it's not necessarily.
What I'm saying is that you're saying that justification talk doesn't inherently involve reasons, and that's it. Yeah.
Wait, you said that, right?
Yeah, that it doesn't inherently involve reasons. That you don't have to have reasons to be justified.
And you're saying that's idiosyncratic, right? Yeah, we could go with that. So I feel like when people generally talk about justification, they're also talking about not like inferentially justified beliefs or whatever. So even foundationalists who share my semantics would still generally mean, or like it would still mean, a belief has reasons when they mention justification, but that's just going to be a difference in the context of conversation. They're just having some normative conversation or something like that, right? So
listen, if you want to say a belief you're not saying a belief has to have reasons though to be justified. So I don't. Like, none of this matter. Like saying, like some of them would agree that some beliefs have reasons or whatever. Like, yeah, it's fine. If you just agree, that the sort of hinges or axioms or whatever, that you don't have any reason to believe those things, I would just say you're not justified in believing those. That's it.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's just, okay, I'll give you the relevance, right? Okay, so I understand that under your semantics that's true, but basically what's going on is you're saying that however I define the terms, it's idiosyncratic, right? And we're basically going over whether it's idiosyncratic. So I'm basically saying if most people could generally still go under my semantics and still mean a belief with reasons when talking about justification in a normative context, then what I'm saying is not idiosyncratic. It's just like some contextual difference. That's the relevant.
Most people just wouldn't do that though. Because
I
the sort of
mean-
thing we just had this conversation, most people wouldn't agree that like a schizophrenic person is justified in believing. Most people wouldn't agree that a schizophrenic person is justified in believing, crazy shit. Most people wouldn't agree that you can have a belief and have no reasons to believe it. You saying something. Most people would agree that saying something like, I'm justified in believing this, but I have no reasons to believe it. Most people just wouldn't agree that that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I feel okay. So, well, two things. Well, I mean, we didn't have the convo. It's just that, like, when you brought it up, my immediate response was we could like have that later. But yeah, we're having it now. So, well, yeah, you said most people wouldn't say that. I mean, I kind of disagree. I feel like the reason why you think most people wouldn't say that is because most people don't talk about the foundational beliefs, right? And also, most people share the same foundations. So, usually their intuitions align with each other. So usually the axioms they're going under are the same, right? So usually nobody questions their foundational axioms or just like the axioms that they usually base most of their beliefs on, right? So I don't know how you could get like a data pool that somehow proves that people wouldn't say this usually. So
I don't know what to tell you. I don't have a data pool or whatever. This is just obvious. Do you really think most people would agree to the statement a schizophrenic person is justified in believing that gang stalkers are watching them?
I mean, if someone contextualizes for them the schizophrenic person and they have different foundations, and someone even like gives them like some intuition arguments, like what's because I feel like this, right? Like,
yeah, I agree. If somebody gives them some intuition arguments and contextualizes it in the way where it sounds correct, like, yeah, of course, right? What we're talking about is how people typically use the word justification. That's it. I agree. Most people would probably agree with me if I went over the sort of things that I was talking about with them. Like, obviously, okay, I don't. Yeah, if you contextualize it in a certain way, most people who have no knowledge about philosophy are going to agree with the position that's contextualized by philosophy or by philosophers. Like, yeah, I know shit. Like,
okay,
that doesn't mean that the sort of thing you're saying isn't idiosyncratic.
Okay, so basically, why I think I have two issues. Well, firstly, you said, if anyone philosophically illiterate, listens to your reasons, they will be more inclined to agree with you or whatever. And if they listen to my reasons, obviously they will be more inclined to agree with me or whatever. I'm saying if they were given both reasons, I don't see why they wouldn't be inclined to agree with me. Because what I basically mean by contextualizing here is, whenever I contextualize someone about these situations, giving them all the available facts necessary for them to come to a conclusion, right? So
if somebody, I don't really want to get into this that much because I don't think it's like super relevant to the view. Like, but sure, like I agree. If we gave somebody like all the context or all the
hold on, Mason. Wait, Juju, could you mute? Yo, Juju, could you mute up, bro? It's like, bro. Okay, thank Mason, go on.
Yeah. Yeah, like I agree, like or I wouldn't agree, but yeah, like if we contextualize all of it or whatever, like the sort of thing I'm saying is that regardless of whether you contextualize it, if we're contextualizing both sides or like positions here for people, people are going to agree with the one that generally follows their sort of understanding of justification or their sort of semantics for justification, right? I don't think anybody would disagree with you that under the sort of semantics you're using that you could say the thing that you're saying. That's fine. What we're trying to ask is which one tracks on to people's semantics, right? If you laid it out and you said, hey, under my semantics, would it make sense to say this? I don't think anybody would say no unless they were retarded. Like, I agree that under your semantics, it makes sense to say that. What we're asking is what tracks on to what most people
understand.
That's all. But none of us have data. Like, it's just, I'm just obviously correct. Like, most people would not agree that a schizophrenic person is justified in believing the things they believe. Most people actually say the opposite all the time. Most people also wouldn't agree that it makes sense to say, oh, I'm justified in believing this, but I have no reasons to believe it at all. Because most people wouldn't agree with that. That's it. Like, that's all.
All right, bet. So, I have three issues, I guess. So, firstly, I mean, yeah, I do agree that we're not just talking about, under my semantics, is this true? Yeah, that's trivial. But what I'm basically saying is, if both facts, both sides are available to the people, right? Facts from both sides are available to the people. I think that you could. I don't see why mine wouldn't be what tracks onto what people usually do, right? And the reason why what people usually do might seem different is because most people lack the facts from both sides. So I feel like that's just the difference between like an uninformed conclusion and
It's just
an informed conclusion or whatever, right?
this is all conjecture. Like the sort of thing we want to say is if we agree that most people would agree initially with the sort of thing that I'm saying, right? If all you're saying is okay, I'm providing some conjecture, and the conjecture is that most most people would agree with the sort of thing you're saying initially, but if it was contextual,
Yeah, I mean,
most people would agree with the sort of thing you're saying or agree that
I feel like
it tracks on. Well, that's fine, but that's all conjecture. Like we have stronger inductive reason to believe that people's beliefs wouldn't actually change that strongly if both sides were contextualized, just because
okay.
that's where they're at now.
So
That's
I
it.
don't.
Like,
Okay.
I don't. None of this is like relevant. Like if we just have different semantics for justification, that's fine. I'm telling you that yours is pretty idiosyncratic, and like
Yeah.
if you don't agree with that, that's cool. Like I don't know
I
what to
mean,
say.
okay. So I'll just say one last response, and if you don't feel like talking about it, that's completely fine. Maybe we could like take it to some other I don't know, part of the conversation. So I'll just say, well, if like I've already established how it's an incomplete information, then I don't think it would be strong inductive evidence. If you disagree with it, you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. Let me see. You're like, okay, fuck. We have like the same views on everything. Okay, no. You're like so you would say like what's your position on philosophy of the mind? Just remind me.
Yeah, I'd probably say I'm a physicalist.
And like physicalist in like some robust sense, like you'd affirm some necessity identity claim or like some like contingent identity, like you'd say that all facts in this world refer to like some physical fact.
Sorry, say it one more time. I was reading something.
Oh, so by physicalism, would you affirm some necessity account, like they're necessarily identical, or would you say that all facts in this world refer to, or all mental facts in this world refer to some physical fact?
Oh yeah, I'd say it's like a contingent identity relation or whatever.
Fuck. Okay. I mean, uh, so if someone affirms some necessity account, would actually no, I don't want to do that anymore. Okay, we could just end the convo.
Sure.
That was a pretty. Wait. So Mason will. Okay. Wait. Hold on. No, Yusuke, just end the rec.